This is Call My Bluff Again, the intellectual version of Clock Golf, featuring, as ever, Frank Muir.
Good evening. My first guest is new to the programme, and it'll be rather interesting to see how well she lies. Because normally she reads the news. Angela Rippon. For my second guest, it's his annual return to the series. It's writer, lyric writer and broadcaster, Tim Rice.
And Todd Slaughter's stand-in, Patrick Campbell.
I often dream I'm playing this game, and in my dreams there's always my first little guest beside me, as she has so often been in reality. It could only be heavenly little Hannah Gordon. My other guest has never played this game before, so I look forward to meeting him in Dreamland too, the elegant Mr. Charles Gray.
Well now, ting-a-ling, and lo, we get the word Phyllis. And what's going to happen is that Frank and his team are going to define Phyllis 3 different ways. 2 of the definitions are bogus ones, but one's true, and that's the one that Patrick and co try and pick out, as you probably remember. So what about Phyllis, Frank?
Phyllis is a verb. Don't you think so? Shall I shut up and go? Well, I'll sold you. I'll flog on a bit for the money. It's and it's got a precise meaning, which I think we won't believe this. It's to address somebody in pastoral verse. And I Phyllis, thou Phyllisist, he or she Phyllises. Paddy, if I now, here and now, were to recite to you the whole of the 448 lines of Milton's Comus, a Masque, it is quite like
be here, I promise you.
Well, I should think about line 124.
Yeah.
You might be saying to yourself,
well,
I wish he'd cease Phyllising. You'd be right.
Right, now Tim Rice has a try.
Well, a Phyllis is a stroke. It isn't a sort of heart attack type stroke, but it's the upstroke of a handwritten letter. It's especially a hairline upstroke written with a broad pointed nib, viz. A quill, used sideways to boot. And it's very hard to write Phyllises with ballpoint pens for this reason. But by all accepted standards of calligraphy, a Phyllis should be much, much narrower than its companion downstroke. Got it?
Oh.
Very interesting too. Angela Rippon.
Phyllis is that with which a gardener would tie down his climbing Mrs. Sam Macready. He might also, indeed, secure a viburnum to a Forsythia suspensa. Because Phyllis is, he would indeed, it's a rather loosely woven string made half of hemp and half of jute that gardeners and horticulturalists use for tying down the branches of shrubs and trees.
Seems reasonable. And so what they say is this. To Phyllis is to speak in pastoral verse. Phyllis is garden twine, and Phyllis is a kind of upstroke in producing handwriting. I think it's an upstroke, yes. Patrick, choose.
I don't believe the gardeners would be bothered to call a piece of tying down string a Phyllis. Pass me the Phyllis, dear. All this upstroke, it couldn't be you, Frank. No, not yet. Wait. No, don't rush it. Upstroke and downstroke. It sounds like a little elegant flick of some kind, but it couldn't be all that dribbling nonsense about reciting poetry, but I think it probably is.
Are you committing yourself?
I'm committing myself,
right.
I think, unwisely.
Then it was certainly Frank who said all that. Now he's going to own up.
Smug smile there.
See what he's got.
It's true, isn't it?
Ooh. So, no. Who gave the true definition?
Not the little new...
Sam Macready.
There it is. You didn't say, Frank, as I was hoping you would, the swine have got Phyllis, because they didn't. They couldn't have
That
done.
was most unfortunate. wasn't
Yes. Occamy is the next word, and I believe it's Patrick's turn to go.
it? Occamy was a kind of Roman orgy,
Oh, goody.
indulged in by, you could call them kind of breathalyzable young Roman bucks. Now, the orgy was going on, you see. One Roman buck was said, yeah, let's have a bit of occamy. Nero, perhaps wherever it might be. And what they did when they were having an occamy, it's a bit dull. They held a lot of wine about.
What for?
A kind of occamy, they used to hurl kind of goblets of wine, either at pillars or vases, or even passing barmaids for a moving target.
You can't go to sleep with a pillow wet with wine.
You can. Have you ever tried it?
No, well,
Lovely.
sort of.
Let us hear what Charles Gray says.
Well, occamy is the sin of pride. Occamy goeth before a fall, as you might have said. It especially refers to a sort of loftiness, a sort of nose in the air superiority. As exemplified in a contemporary portrait of Charles I, his dignity was travestied by an overweening occamy.
Good stuff. Now, Hannah Gordon.
Come on, Hannah.
Occamy is a bogus metal, an imitation metal, rather like pinchbeck, except the pinchbeck looked like gold. Occamy looks like silver. And it's usually a combination of zinc and white copper. And it used to be beaten and shaped into quite useful articles like thimbles or church organ pipes or Sergeant Major's maces. Maces.
They say then, they say that it's occamy is imitation silver, kind of version of pride, and a wine-chucking Roman orgy when they got fed up with all the rest of whatever it is they did. Frank?
Is it a pity, really, that Paddy, just for the sheer exciting inner thrill of talking about orgies, has to go into this long rigmarole of describing what was in fact called Saturnalia?
Occamy.
No. It was celebrating the god Dionysus.
Saturnalia-
It was also the god of battle.
There was the big-
I am
Saturday-
talking, sir.
So it's a big night Saturday, no, Saturday night, but occamy takes place Thursday.
Thursday once a year. No, with that, we strike that off. Pathetic. Quite well done, actually. A bit lengthy, but quite well done. We also don't think, Hannah, I'm terribly sorry, but we don't think it's the pinchbeck. Occamy. Because the sin of pride is such a ridiculous explanation of what the word must be, that it must be, must it not? Or must it not?
That was...
I choose Charles.
you choose Charles, and who
That's
would
what
not?
Charles I.
True or bluff? So nothing. No. Now we need to know. Game can't go on until we know who gave the true definition. Ah. Yes. Imitation silver, just as Hannah Gordon said, is what the word means. Dam sacks is the next one. Tim Rice, your go.
Well, a dam sax is a lethal weapon, or was a lethal weapon, with which the lethal Danes used to attack unfortunate Anglo-Saxons in the 9th century. It was a fearsome-looking axe with a long and curving blade, but unlike other fearsome-looking axes with long curving blades, it didn't have a spiky stick-out thing at the back.
That's impressive, isn't it?
That was all you could say for it. Angela Rippon.
Dam sax, very straightforward this. Dam sax is a word from Roman mythology. It's a fabulous insect that apparently lived in fire and was therefore a firefly. Dam sax.
Good Lord, that was quick. Right to the point. Frank.
Damsax was an emergency, as any schoolboy knows, was an emergency parliament convened in Hungary in the year 1448. Every one of the 100 electors was personally selected by the tyrant Matthias Corvinus, who, as you know, was tyrant because he beat the Magyars at the Battle of Prest Mohacs.
I know, yes, yes. Well done.
Well, the convincing bit about that is it wasn't in Persia. It's a fabulous firefly. It's an Hungarian parliament, no doubt, and a Danish axe. Charles Gray.
I can't begin to believe it's yours, Frank. I can't begin to believe it's yours.
I thank you, sir.
Oh, fantastic. Angela, it could easily be that, that Roman mythology. But I'm going to settle for Tim's lethal weapon.
Ah, he said it was a Danish axe.
A Danish axe.
Just to be that little more precise.
Double-edged job.
It was Tim Rice. True or bluff? A damsax is indeed was indeed Danish axe. Oh, gibbet, gibbet. Charles, your go.
Ah, no. A gibbet is a hip-length coat, padded tunic sort of thing, which could be used as a protective thing or as a cushion. It was worn under a, I'm never sure how I pronounce this, hauberk or hauberk, which is a chainmail job, you know. And Sir Walter Scott wrote in his metrical play Helidon, which you all, of course, have read, with naught to fence his dauntless breast, save the close gibbets under vest.
Right. Hannah Gordon.
A gibbet is an audible signal that's given to a trained animal to attract its attention. When I say a trained animal, I'm a hawk or a hound. In other words, a huntsman sounding his horn, that would be a gibbet to his hounds, or Pretty Polly to a parrot would be a, what's its name to a parrot?
To my wife.
That is a gibbet.
Patrick Campbell's go.
Very amusing.
A gibbet is, in general, kind of a morsel of food or a sip of liquid that is taken or partaken of by the cook while he's tasting the food. But in particular, the gibbet, it means a first little blob of butter that appears in the churn while you're churning cream. You pick out your gibbet and taste it to see if the butter is all right.
That laid them low. It's a kind of a tunic worn. It's something to do with armour and things of that sort, I think. It's a cry you give to an animal, a call or so forth, or it's something a cook tastes or the bit you take out of the butter to see if it's coming on all right. Tim Rice.
Well, I still haven't quite got what exactly Patrick meant by gibbet, but I wasn't convinced by what I
Morsel
heard.
the cook tastes.
It's a fingerful of butter.
Butter. All that's all in there, lad. If you just refer to your notes. You must have it all down there.
I'm still not very impressed by that one.
I could do it again for you.
No, no. I'm also not too impressed by Charles's tunic, worn by somebody who wrote a metrical poem.
Walter Scott.
Way before the metric system. So I'm going to have a guess that it might be Hannah's cry to animals in despair.
Yes, she did say that, didn't she? Was it true, Hannah, or were you
Otherwise there'll be a
teasing?
gibbet from this end.
Eccola! It's what you, a gibbet is what you say to an animal, you know, puss puss or polly polly or that kind of thing. Hoosty is the next word, and Angela, it's your go.
Well, hoosty is the name given to a loaf of bread, or bread-like shape. It's a loaf made exclusively for consumption by horses. And it's made of a combination of bran, linseed, and flour. The very first hoosties were made for the horses of Edward IV in 1480, but nowadays you would only make it to give to a horse, say, that needed a balanced diet if it had been sick.
Yes, yes. Why not? Now it's Frank's go.
Hoosty, Kentish rather, sort of rather Kentish word. And it's an adjective really used to describe hops, when the hops of Kent, the hop fields, you know, the stuff that makes beer bitter. And if you don't get at it properly, it gets overgrown and hoosty, and then the sun can't get at the bottom 2/3 of it, you see, so you lose most of your crop. So a hoosty hop is one that's overgrown. And
Don't pay no attention. Don't bother. That's.
Tim Rice's go.
Well, hoosty is vaguely an onomatopoeic word. If one pronounces it thus, hoosty, you can then understand instantly what it is, because it means hoarse, stuffed throat. If you have a hoosty throat, hoosty, like that. You can remember that in Westward Ho, written by Kingsley, if I recall correctly, all the kids in that book were always ill with hoosties. Pathetic lot. They had hoosties.
So it's a kind of a sore throat.
Yes.
Yes. It's hops that have gone on growing when they shouldn't, and so on. And it's bread, specially made for horses. Hannah Gordon.
We're at odds here, as usual.
As usual.
Miserable, Paddy.
I'm having a lovely time.
Losing doesn't matter. You know, it's only a game.
It's 2-all.
Hannah, would you like to say a word? I'm sure they'll let you. They're gentlemen.
Frank's overgrown hops. I got very confused by the 2/3 at the bottom couldn't grow because the sun couldn't get at them.
Hops go like that. Well, no, don't.
Anyway,
Forget it.
I'd like to. I don't think it's that. The horse, not the horse bread, but the horse that Tim had. I don't believe in that. I think it's Angela's bread for horses who aren't very well.
She did say it was, didn't she? Own up, my dear. True or bluff?
Looking very happy.
Ka-chow! So you can fib, Angela. Well. Who gave the true definition of that word? Yes, indeed. All that acting about the sore throat, perfectly right. That's what it means, hoosty. Sore throat. 3-2, we get this word soleret, and I wonder how many different ways they may pronounce it. Hannah.
Soleret is a destructive kind of mistletoe.
It all can be, madam.
Which might be very nice for kissing Frank Muir under it, but the tree itself would suffer. Because the roots of this virulent thing, mistletoe, are very, very bad for the tree, and so it would die. And down in Kent, yokels mumble as follows: "Be the oak tree ne'er so stout, the soleret will wear it out." Someone who's moved to Kent.
That's more in Cleald country.
I think you get 10 points for that, Hannah. You know, someone who's moved to Kent. Very good. Patrick.
Because the soleret can be seen on sunny days round about Trafalgar Square, round about Niagara Falls, even from your own garden hose. It's a kind of tiny rainbow, kind of arc of bright colour, which is caused by the refraction of the sun upon millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and
Shut up.
millions of drops of water.
Well, it would, wouldn't it?
It has.
Like a rainbow.
And ever shall be. Charles?
A soleret is a steel shoe composed of pieces overlapping like the scales of fish, you know, which was very fashionable amongst knights of the 14th century. And one of the most terrible hazards and worries about a soleret, of course, on a long march was that they might drop off owing to metal fatigue.
So it's, what you're saying is it's an arch, sort of arch of colours, the light shining through and being refracted, I think was the word. certain kind of mistletoe, and a knight's shoe. Angela Rippon.
We are as one.
Yes, we are, and I'm the one.
She said sharply.
Yeah, oh, I love the accent, Hannah, but I'm afraid I'm not convinced at all. Patrick always looks so honest. I mean, how can you not believe it?
What?
But I don't. No, I think that, yes, Charles looks so smug, it must be the steel shoe.
Oh, dearie me. Yes. Well, I don't know whether he looks
Well-
smug. Wicked thing to say, but he did say all that. True, Bluff? Bullseye. Yes, absolutely right. Yes, indeed. It's a knight's shoe, all flexible. I mean, you know, the armour thing, but flexible with it. Potlatch. Frank Muir defines it.
Boring, yes, I might say, but I'll cheer it up. But it is fundamentally boring. It's part of the innards of a steam railway locomotive of some importance. It's the valve. The valve. It's a sort of bowl-shaped valve in the guts of the thing somewhere in its tube, so that when the chap does that, the driver does that. It's the potlatch which, in fact, allows or prevents steam from getting to the cylinder and thereby working the piston. End of Bluff.
A bluff.
Well, a piece, you know.
Next.
Your permission to proceed, sir. Tim Rice.
Well, a potlatch is a nickname for a person from a particular place or area. Have I got you gripped?
Yeah, grip, yes. Well, lightly. You were saying what, Tim? I beg your pardon?
I was saying, I'll start again. Potlatch is a nickname for a person from a particular place or area, but you wouldn't actually ever call anybody a potlatch in a particular area unless he came from Minneapolis in the United States, where this term originated way, way back. But potlatch now can mean any type of nickname, like a scouse or a Geordie, which refers to a particular area. But the original potlatches, and I don't think that word's used all that much nowadays, comes from Minneapolis in the United States of America.
I suppose Minneapolis is not too far from Minneapolis, is it? Do you know?
Did I?
No, I don't know. I'm just sitting here. I just
You're
hear
dead
it all.
right, actually, yes.
It's what, you know, I know
It's
what you were
2
getting
miles
at.
away from Indianapolis, too.
Yes, oh, yes, not too far. Not too
500
far.
from Indianapolis.
Yeah, you go by bus. Angela.
Well, potlatch, I think you'll agree, is a very English-sounding word. It has an English sound about it. But in fact, it comes from the vocabulary of the Nootka Indians. Now, these are Indians that you would find in the far, far north of British Columbia. And it's a word that means a gift or a present. And it's used when perhaps someone of a very low social order would give a gift, present or potlatch, to someone of a higher social order and hope to get some sort of favour in return.
Okay. Well, it's a steam valve. It's an Indian gift, and it's one from Minneapolis, or by extension, anywhere. Someone who comes from anywhere, wasn't it? More or less. Yes. But basically a Minneapolitan or thereabouts. Patrick. I think.
Really? A Minneapolitan from Indianapolis called a potlatch. You call
Not
people
Indianapolis.
An Indian
scouse
from
or-
Minneapolis. There.
We've got to get rid of you. You're confusing the whole game. You're gone.
Sorry.
You, Frank, keeping up
Sir.
steam in your old loco there. Just keep it boiling for a moment, lad. It certainly isn't Indians giving potlatches. No, it's part of a locomotive. Let's see our card quickly.
Part of a locomotive. Frank, own up.
It's actually electric.
Nothing. No. True definition now. Here it comes.
Oh,
She-
no.
Got it there? Yes, indeed.
So tell the truth sometimes.
Yes. It's a gift well, you know, the Indians give to each other under those very special circumstances she told you about. Gambo. Patrick.
The sun is setting over darkest Monmouthshire. Good. The hay has been brought in, and the and the harvesters get out their gambo, which is, it looks like a kind of bit of duckboard, but it's got underneath it kind of runners, like a toboggan. Harness up your gambo onto the horse and drag the hay home in darkest Monmouthshire, only.
Great. Now, Charles, your turn.
Now, a gambo is an iron bar of penal significance. It was a bar let into the wall of a prison cell to which prisoners were shackled to with a ring, you know. And if memory serves right, it was in Ivanhoe, wasn't it, that the felon Baldwin was shackled to a gambo.
Hannah, your turn now.
Gambo is a reddish, crumbly earth peculiar to the area southwest of Lake Mairu in northern Rhodesia. Elephants are very fond of it, and they will tramp many, many, many thousands of miles to it so that they can vacuum it up and throw it all over themselves.
So it's a sledge for carrying home hay, but only in Monmouth, red earth and an iron bar on a wall in a prison. Frank Muir.
I don't know. I'm not interested in earth in northern Rhodesia, that's the trouble. And a gumbo is a name of an earth or a thing. I suppose that's the Bluff, isn't it? Isn't it a gumbo in America? Isn't it thick, tarry stuff?
Get on with it. I know.
I'm nervous. Paddy's rubbish about, you wouldn't call a mechanical thing tucked on the... You think so, dear?
Never mind.
No, do say, Tim. It's just I'll never speak to you again after... or the iron bar, hence leg, gambo. So you think it's Patrick's, do you?
No, I don't.
I think it's the Richard Iron Bar.
Think the iron bar. Well, it was
Flash it.
Charles Gray who's going to have to show it now. Draw, Bluff.
Right.
Nothing. No, gambo has nothing whatever to do with iron bars stuck in walls. We need to know who gave the true definition of the word. Interesting word.
I'd move into the middle if I were you, Tim. Not too bad.
It is a hay sledge used in Monmouthshire. And I'm just weighing up in my mind whether we've got time for another word, but I really think on the whole we haven't. And
Let's
so...
have one more.
Let's just chat a bit.
Let's talk a bit. Well, I know Paddy can juggle, but still, no, not now. So I think I'll have to declare the game more or less closed, draw stumps and all like that, and tell you that the score standing at 3-5, no question about it, Frank Muir and co. have won. Only a modest sort of win, after all, reasonable.
Same as last night.
Yeah,
last
kind of
time. Yeah.
gentlemanly. Keep it gentlemanly. Well, we'll be up to our knees in sediment from the Oxford English Dictionary again next week, and I suppose. And until then, we say goodbye, beginning with Tim Rice, Charles Gray, Angela Rippon, Hannah Gordon, Frank Muir, Patrick Campbell, and goodbye.
Fingers on buzzers, entertainment awaits with BBC iPlayer's Game Shows collection.